Hi, I'm Tamsin and I'm demonstrating my emergency ladder buttonhole today with a significant improvement on my last video. So this is a one-stitch buttonhole designed for when you have been too busy shaping or doing something else and you're needing to remember to put in the buttonhole that you meant to put in, and you don't want to be ripping back in order to put that buttonhole in. Your other option is Elizabeth Zimmerman's Afterthought buttonhole, where you cut the yarn and weave the ends in. I'm too much of a coward to have tried that one, so this is my alternative. There's no cutting the yarn involved, and in this new version there's no weaving in of ends either. So this is a simple yarn over knit two together buttonhole comparison, and this is the emergency ladder buttonhole that I'm about to show you. And in the previous version I had, you dropped a stitch down and then sewed in the stitch at the bottom and remade the stitches above. In this new version, thanks to a genius idea by a raveller who prefers to remain anonymous, but yes, who is a genius, you now drop two stitches down, loop one over the other to recreate the knit two together that you would have had after the yarn over, and then remake the stitches above. So all you need is a crochet hook, there is no weaving in of ends, and it's really very simple. And for people like me who hate ripping back, it's perfect. So let me demonstrate how it works. Here we go. So I'm going to make one here. I'm going to drop these two stitches off. Now if you are nervous about dropping stitches, or if you're working maybe with a slippery yarn, then you might find it best to drop one stitch, secure it with the safety pin at the bottom where you want it, and then drop the other, or you can remake the stitches above that one before you drop the second stitch. Now, as always with knitting, there's more than one way of doing something, but I found that dropping two at a time is quite satisfactory for me. Work that through. There we are. Right, I'll go one more. Now I'm demonstrating this to you on stocking stitch because I find it a lot easier remaking the stitches than stocking stitch. So most button bands are, well, most I've come across probably are garter stitch, and of course you can do this in garter stitch, but I have to say it's a bit more fiddly. But you will find videos on YouTube showing you how to pick up the stitches again in garter stitch, and you can practice that. So here is, I've dropped two stitches down to where I want them. I'm going to loop one through the other. Oops, I can get that hook through. Right, and that recreates my knit two together, and then I'm simply going to chain up again by pulling a rung of the ladder through that stitch one at a time. Slightly messily there, sorry about that. This is a bit of a splitty wall to be demonstrating with, I'm afraid. I might just restart that one. Go back to the beginning. So, there's our two stitches already hooked together. Give a bit of a tug, tighten it up, right. Bring that rung through. And again, and again, and a few more times, and you'll see how easy picking up dropped stitches is. I mean, I had never used this technique for picking up stitches before I wanted to do this buttonhole, because I can't say I've ever really dropped many stitches, but having practiced this buttonhole a few times, I have to say I'm much more confident about it. And I have a tendency to put them back the wrong way on the needle at the top, but you can just knit into the back of it when you knit that stitch if you do the same as I do. Right, so that's one stitch remade. Now the next one, you don't have a loop at the bottom to start with, so the important thing you have to do is to just twist those two rungs together to give yourself a stitch to work with. And there we go, give them a little bit of a tug as you go up to tighten up where it's quite loose. Again, it's probably easier to get the tension right if tension's going to show up in your garment. If you're doing lots of rows here, it's probably going to be easier if you remake these stitches one at a time rather than doing them both at once like me, but you can practice and see. It's easy enough to do the buttonhole a second time if you don't like what you've done. But there you have it. You can see how simple and how quick it is, and very effective. So that's a one-stitch emergency ladder buttonhole, with thanks to my genius friend on the Ravelry for coming up with that invention. Thank you.